Lesson 3, Part 3. Can metals be recycled? And what are the challenges in recycling of metals in use? The properties of metals provide unique benefits and advantages for It's easy enough to recycle metals in concentrated uses, but metal is used in many industries currently are not favorable for recycling, and this is not going to change until you will not answer for the question, what are the benefits of recycling metals? Because metals are easy to recycle and don't change their properties. The first benefits is recycling aluminium uses 95% less energy than extracting it from its ores. The second one uses fewer resources. Recycling one car saves our 1000 kilograms of iron ore and over 600 kilograms of coal. The third benefit, 100 million fewer dustbins would be filled per year by recycling aluminium in European Union. The next benefit is less damage to environment. Recycling reduces the need to mine areas for new ores. And the next F, profitable. Recycled copper can be resold for up to 90% of price of new. So, disadvantages of recycling arise from the recycling process itself, the collection and transport of used items needs organization, workers, vehicles, and fuels. It can be difficult to sort different materials from one another. This is a disadvantages. But why are metals easy recycling? Because both steel and iron have magnetic properties, making them some of the easiest metals to recycle. This is because impurities are easily separated from the metal with the use of a strong magnet. And we already know that chemical pollution is also reduced by recycling metals, as it cuts down on the amount of transport that is used. Due to recycling less greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrous oxide, and water vapor are being produced each year. And what are the drawbacks of recycling? Metallic materials are often mixture of different metals. Poor metals can be obtained by purifying recycled materials, but this can be expensive and may use more electricity than extracting metals from ores. Recycled copper is too dirty for electric wires. However, it may be used in products that don't need poor metal, such as coins and ornaments. Sorting mixed metals for recycling can be difficult. Iron and steel are exception. Due to this, materials can be separated from waste using a magnet. And other question, what metals cannot be recycled? Among the metals that cannot be recycled are radioactive metals like uranium and plutonium, and the toxic ones like mercury and lead. Even you are unlikely to encounter materials from the first category. Mercury and lead are more common and are often used in everyday items. So, we understand that the, the most important disadvantages of recycling are more pollution and energy consumption, result in pollutants, increased processing cost and low quality jobs, require stricter and more stringent implementation. Good products are not guaranteed. It's very important. And generally ineffective of recycling of metal. And does recycling have negative effects? Yes, a lot of debris is collected every day for recycling. The recovery sites can become unhygienic. Abandoned dump sites can severely damage the surrounding environment. Harmful chemicals in the trash can mix into water and soil, and this can cause water and soil pollution and harm plants and fish in the streams and lakes. And also, very important question, and you must understand it, that are metals eco-friendly? Aluminium is amongst the most environmentally friendly metals on planet. On a percentage basis, it's the most recycled of any industrial metal. Of the more than 1 billion tons of aluminium ever produced, roughly 75% of the versatile and lightweight metal is still in use today, thanks to recycling. Why recycling metal is important? Metal recycling conserves natural resources by reducing greenhouse gas emissions and using less energy than making metal from virgin ore. The production of new metal releases a far greater amount of greenhouse gas emissions compared with making products from recycled metal. And also very interesting question, which is better, extracting metal or recycling metal? Metal is all around us. Whether you realize whether you realize it or not. The electronic gadgets, batteries, buildings, transportation, almost everything around you consists of metal. To make all these metal products, we need raw metal, which is obtained either from extracting or metal recycling. Let's learn more about them. About extraction. After the metals is extracted from the soil, it's refined, processed and transported to several manufacturers. There the processed metal will undergo future processes and turned into different products. While these products are useful, the processes required to produce them end up doing a lot of damage to the environment. In order to minimize this damage, you must recycle metal. So about advantages of extracting raw material as compared to recycling scrap material. So about extraction. Advantages. Raw metal is extremely valuable and helps in bringing in a lot of revenues for the company as well as the country. It can be exported and sold to several countries that have high metal consumption, such as China or United States. Another advantage of metal extraction that it helps in creating a lot of jobs for people. Extracting, processing, refining, and transporting metal requires several people on the payroll. Moreover, there will be an increase in facilities such as hospitals and transportation near the mines. When companies deal with metals, they have to pay taxes, which helps in improving the economy of the local community as well as the government. And about disadvantages of metal extracting. The major disadvantages is that it harms the environment, it causes soil, air, water and noise pollution, which will harm the community. Extraction of metal means depleting natural resources of the planet, producing products with extracted metal requires other natural resources such as fuel, wood, etc. Thus putting additional stress on non-renewable sources of energy. Metal recycling process is similar to the usual recycling process. The metals are first sorted on the basis of their properties. It's however important to have a basis understanding or knowledge about metal. This will help in recycling them and keeping a green environment. The metal recycling process follows the following steps. The first step is collection. The most important step. It simply involves collecting all materials that are made of metals. This process should be organized in such a way that there should be containers specifically designed to collect metals. Some people and business persons have established scrap yards where people are encouraged to collect different metals, take them there and be paid for what they have collected. Different metals cost differently at the yards. The scrap metal yards are used as collecting centers for the metals. The next step is sorting. Once the metals have been collected, the next step is to sort the metals. This involves separating what can be recycled from what is non-recyclable. It's essential to point out that the quality of metal recycled is very important. A high-quality recycled product or item can only be created if the original materials used in the recycling process are of good quality. This, however, calls for a strict quality checkup during the sorting process. The general rule is that a product needs to be at least 50% metal. Scrap metal is classified as either ferrous and non-ferrous. The ways to identify whether the metal is ferrous or non-ferrous is with a magnet. As ferrous metal contain iron, they stick to a magnet. Non-ferrous metals don't and are easily pulled out of the mixed waste stream. The next step is processing. After sorting, the next step is to compact or squeeze the metal. All the recycled materials are squeezed and squashed using attaching so that they don't occupy so much space in the conveyor belt. The next step is shredding. Um, After breaking of the metal, the shredding process starts. The metal are broken down into tiny pieces or sheets to allow future processing. The small pieces have a large surface to volume ratio that can be melted using less energy as compared to when they are in large pieces of metal. Normally, steel is changed into steel blocks, while on the other hand, aluminium is converted into sheets. The next step is melting and purification. Melting of the scrap metal takes place in a large furnace. Each metal is taken to a furnace that is specifically designed to melt that particular metal based on its specific properties. The melting process uses a considerable amount of energy. However, the energy required for melting recycled metal is less compared to the energy required to make metal from its raw material. The furnace is heated to appropriate degrees, capable of melting the particular metal. Melting can take minutes or hours depending on how big the furnace is. The volume of metal placed in the furnace and the heat degree of the furnace. Purification. Metals are purified using different methods. Purification of metals is done to ensure that the final product is free of impurities and that it's of high quality. Electrolysis is one of the methods of purifying metals. Other metals are simply passed under powerful magnetic systems that separate metals from other recyclables. Today there are different purification methods depending on the type of metal. The next step is melting and solidifying of the metal. The molten metals is then carried by the conveyor belt to a cooling chamber where it's cooled and solidified. It's at this stage that the scrap metal is made into a solid metal that can be used again. Other chemicals are then added into the molten metal to make it acquire its density and other properties. It's at the cooling stage that different shapes and sizes of metals are made and designed. And then the last stage is transportation of metal bars. The final product is then packed depending on their sizes and shapes ready for transportation to different factories and to people who require this metal. Thereafter, the cycle begins again. So, I hope you understand all this process and all this lection. Bye.